Welcome to the Builders Podcast, episode 117, a baseline for growth, continuous marketing and site enhancements for your business. Before we jump into this episode, please subscribe to this podcast, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube, and after a listen, please give us a thumbs up, like, and share, if we've earned it. With your help, we can reach more people and deliver these valuable from the trenches lessons to those that need it. Enjoy the episode. Hello again. Today's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about continuously improving and working on your own stuff. That is, it's funny. I think about it a lot because it's very easy in any business. Once you get to a certain level and you have like business coming in, or you have existing clients or customers or whatever you're serving, it's very easy to start to just focus on that and start to let the marketing and everything else you do to get business or new business slip. So, but it's something that I really think a lot about, and I try to always have that balance. Sometimes it's like I've had these weird thoughts in the past. I've worked through them, but where I'm, if I'm out there marketing, especially my clients that maybe follow my content and stuff, I think, gosh, they know that I need to be doing this project for them, but I'm out here, goofing off on social media, but it's really not, right? It's marketing. It's creating content so you can, get your message out there and reel in more sales and all that stuff. And I also tell myself, a lot of stuff, I guess. And I'll tell you today that I think any client or any customer wants to see you doing that. They want to see you out there because they want you to stay in business. Because if you go out of business, you stop your marketing, you stop your sales, and things slip, and you can't pay your team or whatever it is, right? That team member that's helping them with their website or with their marketing, whatever kind of agency you are or business, and suddenly you have to let that person go because you haven't been paying attention to your marketing. So your clients should want to see you out there, and it should be normal, right? They would, because they have a business and they know they have to market to keep going and doing stuff. So yeah, I've worked through those feelings in the past, but that's how I look at it, right? But the thing is, it is one of these things that you have to consciously think about, and so that's what we're going to talk about today on this solo episode. Now, to give you a little background, first of all, I'm Matt Levenhagen, and I have an agency called Unified Web Design. And we do a number of things. We are heavily focused on custom work, whether that's custom features or custom websites, custom design. And we also, a big part of our business is maintaining those sites or any sites. We focus a lot on helping other agencies. We got a good number of agency strategic partnerships where we help them deliver websites to their clients and so on and so forth. And we also have direct clients and that we take care of their maintenance or, that approach us for stuff. So that's essentially what my business is. But like I said, to maintain that, so I kind of feel like I go through cycles where I know that's okay. Let's spend a few months on improving this part of our business, whether that's processes, whether that's the team, whether that's, working on, maybe I do spend maybe a lot's been going on, a lot's hitting us, and I got to gain control of that. And I need to focus on client work pretty heavily for a few months, maybe a half a year. I remember a couple of years back, I remember having a conversation. I'm like, we need to stop marketing. Not stop. The whole episode is about not stopping marketing, but slow down the marketing, really, really focus on clients at that stage of my business, I needed to do that because I really needed to gain control of things. Because you do have to, this is all about balance. It's all about balance. So you always want to have a sliver of what you're doing, trying to get new business and staying on top of mind with your market on social media or whatever, or on your list. But at the same time, taking care of business. So, so I think you can almost look at it like this, and I'm just throwing percentages out there. This is not like an exact science, but let's say your ideal is, 10, 20% of your time is on marketing and the rest of the time is on other parts of your business. Well, sometimes that'll be 10 and sometimes that'll be 20. Maybe it'll slip to 8 or 7% for a little while, but there always should be something. There always should be something going. So, and you can accomplish this in a number of different ways, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be you doing all of this, although as I'm going to talk about today, some of this is me. And maybe a larger part of this is me. And I have other people doing, because I have a team at this point, I have other people doing a lot of the work. So I'm able to focus more or continue to focus on the aspects of my business that get us more business. So one of the things that I established a couple years ago, and luckily it's still going, is content. Content, for whatever reason, and I guess this I go back a few decades. I used to be an internet marketer. I did a lot of niche websites, did a lot of content for like 20 years, right? And so I became really good at marketing content. I don't know what that means. Am I in the top 10%? Probably not. But I've always done content, and through SEO and having blogs and just sites and websites, and so I've always had this kind of inkling to do content. And I always knew if I had an agency, one of the things that we would do eventually, the first couple of years I didn't do this, was do a lot more content. I think in the first couple of years I had a blog, but I really only, posted to it here and there. And I wasn't very active on social media. A little bit here and there, but not much of anything. So a couple of years ago, I hired somebody, it was basically a VA virtual assistant, but I knew a big part of her dailies would be helping me with content and the marketing side. And that was established on day one. And to a point where at some point she just learned that she loves doing that. And so she's just stayed doing that. I didn't know in the beginning, I imagined her role developing and evolving in other things, but actually she's kind of solidified in what she does. She helps me with admin stuff, but anyway, but what she helped me establish was this cadence of daily content and creating content for our different social media properties, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. That's our main focus. And she helps me put that content together on a daily basis and then schedule it and distribute it. I'm part of that process, though, and I have been since day one. Our process is super simple. She puts it together. She creates the graphics and all this. And then every day at a certain time in the morning, she drops it into Slack for me to review. I literally go through it, read everything, listen to if it's a video clip. I listen to the video clip. I make my edits, or sometimes I rewrite it. Maybe I think it could be worded differently or whatever, but it's in my kind of voice. And then she helps me distribute that. And she helps me stay on task with that. So that is one way here that I am doing that. That I am delivering content. So she's helped me with that. We've done other things, direct email and things like that, but that's a big part of what we do. And then this podcast came along, or I decided to do a podcast, and she started helping me with that. She creates, if you see clips, I didn't put those clips together. She put those clips together. And she puts it together and drops it in Slack, and I review it. And they're always, I don't know if I've ever rejected a clip. I'm like, that's good, go. So she does a really great job with that. But it's something that she is, because I'm not doing it, even if I get caught up in other work or other efforts, that it stays consistent because she's doing that. Now, we recently, a few months back, hired somebody to work underneath her to help with SEO. So we have this new SEO initiative with our websites, which we really didn't pay attention to before, but we are now. Besides the social, we now got the SEO component on our own websites. So now that person is kind of dedicated. They're helping with other things. We're doing a little direct email and they help me do research and stuff, find people in different capacities, I want to say, contexts. From finding new podcast guests to finding people in our vertical or we want to reach out to or do an outreach and stuff. So, but again, it's not me doing it, right? It's somebody else that's doing it that can be dedicated to that task and be consistent with it. So I'm fortunate that way, but I wasn't always that way. It was before I had a team. I had to figure out how to do that stuff myself. And well, I wasn't really good at it. I was good at networking, and I would post a little bit on social media, and I had some content. I had a little blog. So I was still finding time, but it wasn't, it needed to be scaled up. I think there has to be, you have to kind of find it for yourself, but there has to be a baseline. So we had to figure out our baseline of what we do. We want to do more, always want to do more, and we will increase what we do over time, but there has to be this kind of minimum amount. And we found our minimum amount based on results and what we're getting. We know we have to do at least this to consistently get what we get. We give what we give on this level so we can get what we get on this level. We give this much. Okay. People that are listening to audio are like, what is he doing? Well, I had my hand way up there for the giving and way down here for the getting, because you may not get everything you may put in a lot of effort, but it doesn't matter. You got to figure out that balance. So that's a lot of, we're doing that stuff. The other thing that's big with me is the networking aspect, and this, we might get into this a little more, but the podcast plays a role in that. But it's also doing quick connects and other networking type events, and just reaching out, staying in touch, just being social. Really, network's just being social. It's not selling to people. It's not me going up to somebody, hey, how you doing today? Do you need something? Can I sell you one of my products or services? No, it's helping each other out. It's hanging out, jumping on a call, catching up. I have a lot of catch-up calls. We just jump on a call and see how each other are doing, if we can help each other out or know anything or refer or whatever. So that's part of what we do as well. So it's the social media, the content, the networking, pretty much a big chunk of our focus. And now SEO, apparently. So that's kind of our marketing strategies. It revolves around that. Now, I have thought about doing pay-per-click and paid advertising and stuff. I've thought about it a lot, off and on. And I actually thought we have products too. We have a WordPress plugin we sell now. And I thought about doing it for that even, but I still haven't pulled the trigger. I'm hesitant. And this is coming from a guy that spent a lot of money on advertising in the early days of the internet, my internet, or when I came online. The first decade I was online. I was a PPC guy. I did affiliate marketing and drove traffic with pay-per-click. So it's not that I don't have that background and know about it, but I guess maybe I burned myself out on spending money on advertising. So everything we do is, it's not that we're not spending or investing money. Obviously, I pay for the people that are helping me, and we pay for tools to create that content and all that. So you got to figure out where we're going to invest that money. but through all this, through all that effort, I'm consistently doing it. Now it ebbs and flows. Again, that percentage, or like for a while I'll focus on networking, and then for a while I'm focusing on something else. Or so for a while we might try direct email, and for a while we don't. We're good. It kind of ebbs and flows with the business and how we're doing and what we need to, what our strategy is at that moment. Our strategy changes year in and year out. So depending on what we're focused on. Another thing that we're focused on, for example, is insurance. So in the beginning of this year, we launched a new website to target insurance agencies. And in fact, I got my first proposal out to an insurance agency this past week. So we'll see what happens there. But in that case, that's going to now become part of our strategy and what we're doing. And we're going to focus now, a more narrow focus on this particular vertical, and we'll see where that takes us. We're adding additional services. We're actually adding some digital marketing services just for that. We don't do that. Don't talk to us about that in Unified Web Design. We're just doing web design and development, helping other people that might be doing digital marketing, but just in this particular niche, so we can specialize in that. But that becomes part of it. So now this has to become part of our routines. And I just got done in Slack last night, kind of updating my marketing team to, okay, this is what I need you to be doing in terms of SEO and stuff. And that all ties into this. Set up some social media situations for I think we were actually talking about the unified email capture. We're going to do that for, I think both, the insurance as well. So now it's like, this is a new thing. So we're just adding on these pieces. We kind of incrementally add things in, and that's sort of how I operate. We figure out how to do this really well. Now we're going to add this other thing. And it might be months or a year in between, right? It's a slow growth kind of situation. So I think through all that, and why this is important, again, it's very easy, especially as you get busier, to want to just do the work. If I was just by myself, I would have to do that, right? If I let go of my marketing teams or a developer or two, I probably would be working around the clock just on work. But I've tried to strategically and consciously develop the team so I always have room and space for myself to do these things and for my team to do these things. So I remember telling somebody this past year, I don't know what the context was, what we were talking about. It was related to the podcast. And probably some other things I was doing, maybe the videos, because I do some other video and stuff. But I said, that's kind of, I don't know if it's a canary in the coal mine is the right analogy here, but if I start struggling finding time to record a podcast episode or get guests on or to do the things that I have created that baseline for, if I'm starting to see those things suffer or something is encroaching on that territory, that is a signal for me that I either need to hire somebody or I need to stop doing something, give that something to somebody else or whatever, because I protect that space. I protect the space that I have for doing these podcasts. Again, my clients are seeing me doing these podcasts. They know, do I do this? It's part of my business. But I got to continue to do that, right? So you either have to schedule things around that, or maybe you have to adjust your schedule. You got to say no to some things or not add things. I think one of the things that's really easy, especially online, is to see that newfangled thing, that shiny object. Maybe I should be doing that. So-and-so's doing it. That person's telling me to do it. That person really is really energetic about telling me that I should be doing X, Y, Z. Maybe I should start doing that. I've had to say no to things. I've had to say no to coaches that want to coach me on all kinds of things, from YouTube to whatever. There's 100%. I could be spending more effort on my YouTube channel, on improving the content, how we optimize it, how we promote it. But you can't do everything. You can't. You have to have your baseline. It's great that we're doing YouTube. I love it. We don't have a huge subscriber base there. Got subscribers. I think around 67 right now on YouTube. But we also got all our social media and the other things we're doing. That is something that I figure will grow over time. And maybe at some point, like I said, I just hired somebody to focus on SEO. Someday, I may be in a position to hire somebody to just focus on that, or maybe to actually help me more on the podcast, maybe improving what we're doing with content here or distribution, because we have the baseline. I have a website for my podcast and all that. We have the baseline. And that kind of takes me to the websites. The other baseline here is I have a little network of websites for my business. We have Unified Web Design. That's obvious. Unified Email Capture. That's our product. We have thebuilders.fm. That's this. We have mattlevenhagen.com. Then we got insurancesitepros.com. So those are our 5 websites. That is what we have. And through those 5 websites, we're able to, that's where our credibility comes from. That's where we've established our online presence besides our social properties. So, and that kind of hits all the areas and all the things we're doing. That's how we're focused. And all those things, though, have to be maintained. Now, as I was talking about on the marketing side, it's also on the content side and improving our websites over time. So one of the things that, no matter what my teams are doing in terms of working on client stuff, I've engineered it basically to always have a backlog of things to be working on with our websites. So if, let's say I have this is kind of one of my secret insights into how I run my teams. But one of the things that I do is drink a coffee. My throat's getting a little sore today. One of the things that I do is if I have any of my developers are on pause, maybe there's a gap in the activity, maybe they're waiting on something, or maybe there's just once in a while we get just a little bit of a slowdown before it picks back up again. If any one of my developers has that moment, that gap, they have projects waiting for them, internal projects. That might be our websites. That's maybe our plugins. We have a plugin, but we also have some bonuses that come with that plugin. So we have actually a couple plugins and themes and other things we're working on internally. But there's always that. But then there's also I'm always coming up with new ideas for my websites to expand the content or add features. And so when I launch a website, sometimes I launch it minimal viable, right? If you don't know what that is in software or whatever, other types of products, you launch, you don't need to launch something where it's perfect and every single feature's been built out and that you can imagine. Now you get something out there minimal viable, you get some feedback, you get the marketing started, you get some traffic started, and then you work on that over time. Now, obviously, I think one of the most important sites of mine has been Unified Web Design since we're 5 years in. But even that, I'm slowly improving it over time. At some point, I had that fully redesigned. At some point, I added new sections, new pages, I focused on testimonials for a while. I got a video testimonial on there. I improved the messaging of that. I played around with the hero messaging and the call to action for quite a while and tried different things until I found something that worked the best. But that still will evolve. Next month or next year, I might come up with a better idea or see something out there. See, a lot of the things that I come up with, I may have seen that on something else. That's what inspired me on another person's website, another agency's website, or whatever. We got a new, in recent times, we got a new team page. So actually showcasing my team finally on my Unified Web Design website. And we got the maintenance page, the custom page. In recent months, in fact, recent weeks, we released a couple new sections. We got a new section on the homepage that talks, I never had anything that really talked about what we do because that's not how I sell. But I finally added a section that kind of talks about what we do, from design, WordPress, Spotify, Webflow, and other frameworks. So we have that. And now on the custom side, I came up with a section that talks about why build custom, answers that question for people. On the maintenance page, I finally got a couple examples of our maintenance clients, and I'm going to be creating from that. I'm going to be creating some case studies and stuff, some other pages for that. So we're right now in this initiative. Even though we got all this stuff going on, I have a particular, actually, I've kind of got a dedicated developer now that just works on an internal website, features and content like I'm talking about. And so she's been really helping a lot with that. So that's what's been going on with Unified Web Design. MattLevenhagen.com, about 6 months ago, I had the hero redesigned and redeveloped. That improved. I have added sections, like I have a section at the bottom of the homepage now that actually a whole nother custom list of podcasts I'm guesting on instead of just my podcasts. So I'm always tweaking and doing things there. With that, I got a new email list capture that I'm, a new list that I'm developing there. On the builders.fm, a couple months back, we updated the hero. We got a really nice hero now that with images of some of our guests. I think it looks 10,000 times better than it did before. And there's always probably a year ago, we updated how we have two pages. We got a page that's lists all our guests and all their episodes, like little bios. And another one just lists all the episodes. I had a feature added where you can filter for solos and guest episodes. That was something we did this past year. On Unified Email Capture, we're actually in the middle right now. I had my designer redesign it. So again, we'll talk about the minimal viable. When I built that, it was pretty rudimentary. It still is. Depends when you listen to this. But I just literally used available blocks and just built out the content. I just have like regular bullets, not even fancy bullets or anything. But we got it out there, minimal viable. Now, I had my designer actually design something nice, and her and another developer are helping translate that design. Not rebuilding the whole site. We're just translating it into blocks in the current framework. So that's happening. So that's kind of the next step. But with that, I also kind of redeveloped the list. I have a new name capture, a new incentive to sign up, and I'm going to be creating more and more email follow-ups with that. But it actually delivers an email checklist, like to do email marketing. It's very cool. Check it out. Subscribe. Unified Email Capture, unifiedemailcapture.com. That's that one. Now, the insurance website, we launched at the beginning of this year, 2023, January. Again, pretty minimal viable. This one, we had a pretty nice design from day one. Really needed to do that because we're going to do we are doing some direct email. But I'm still working on it. We actually just, one of my developers developed 5 demos demo sites. We're going to use those to kind of showcase those and what we can do. And then we're redesigning kind of a demo, the display that links out to them. And so we're working on that. So every single one of my websites, all 5, we're working on stuff. Unified website, Unified web design, mattlevenhagen.com. We're working on stuff. Unified email capture, the builders, the insurance site pros, all of them. I'm always constantly looking at each one. What can we improve next? What can we do? Do I need to work on the messaging? Do I need to work on the copy? Even when I'm doing like stuff on Unified Web Design, as they're building these new sections, I may tweak copy and stuff along the way. So I think, understand that we're doing all of this while we're doing the marketing, distributing content every single day. We're on social media. I'm on there. We're interacting. We're engaging with others. And my throat is just cashed today. I recorded a different video earlier today. I knew this is why I can't do really long episodes. There's no way I've always had a weak throat for some reason. I could never be like a guy on stage, like doing 3, 4, 5 hour like webinars or seminars or whatever. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I don't know why. I must have killed my throat when I was young. All the fun I had. Anyway, we'll go there. But so I want you, the lesson here in all of this is the fact that, listen, I have Unified Web Design. We have these other little things we do, like the builders, but it's not static. And even though we're doing the work, I'm recording these episodes, we're delivering services, selling products, we're also always continuously improving and working on our own stuff. Never staying static. So I have a current, and like I said, it ebbs and flows. As I was talking about adding this new SEO person to help us with SEO, and she might help with clients too, SEO. So we're training her up. But I also, in that same post, I said, I'm going to be, when I get back, I'm having a little long weekend this weekend. I'm getting away for a couple of days with my wife. So we we booked a condo for like 3 days, really big. We get this kind of, just her and I get these giant condos that we get a deal on them, but they're like on a lake. And so anyway, so after I get back, I said, I'm going to be ramping up our networking. I'm going to be doing really focusing on our networking. I just felt like now's a good time to get back into that a little bit, and, for reasons. But it's, but that's, again, it's something that I'm going to be doing, consciously doing. And plus we're going to have more guests coming in. It's not going to just be me talking in the coming months. I got somebody we're recording next week. And so we're probably going to have a nice long string of guests again. All that's part of it. This podcast is an important part of our business. I show up every single week to do this. And also Agency Lessons just posted our 50th episode of that, which is on YouTube. It's just like another playlist you can find there, Agency Lessons. Shorter lessons, probably 10, 15 minutes each. But the podcast, having guests and stuff, that's kind of building our network of friends. Network of people that we help each other out. We're on each other's podcasts or send business to each other. I do business with a number of people that I've had on this podcast. Either did business before we were on the podcast, or that's where we met. One agency that just pops in my mind. Like, she's got an agency and she's been around for years, but we first connected, her being a guest on my podcast, and she's sent us lots of business. I try to send her business, but it don't usually work out. One of these days. But yeah, so this is a really important thing, and it's very important for me to be consistent with these. I show up every week because it's our baseline. It's the baseline of things we do. And like I said, if I feel anything encroaching on that, I'm going to make some adjustments because I protect this. I have to protect this because this is This is why I'm not, you could try to analyze my business of why we continue to grow year in and year out the last few years. Well, since day one, actually, every year we've grown a little, our revenue's growing. The team grows and everything's growing. And is that because of what I'm talking about here? Because we never forget about marketing, networking, creating content consistently. A lot of our clients, maybe a majority of our clients, come to us because they saw us on social media. Some of my greatest strategic partnerships stemmed from our presence online. And people talk a lot about being in top of mind or whatever, having that exposure online, where people can actually find you. That is 100% why we keep getting business and finding new partnerships and finding new clients. It's because we have that. That's our marketing. That's our strategy. We maintain that baseline. You got to protect that. If I stop doing that, will we continue to grow? Maybe. We can certainly coast, right? I do know that if I stop marketing today, that we'd be fine for quite a while. Maybe forever. I don't know. But we are where we are today because of what we do here. And we will continue to do that. And again, I'm a content marketer. I love creating content. I love the reason I like content is staying top of mind and obviously the marketing component. But I love sharing. I love sharing stories and writing content. Like I said, I've been doing that for 20 years. I got my start doing content. So I even do, if you look at all my websites, this may surprise you. If you look at all my websites, all the copy, I wrote that. It's one of the things I don't have as a copywriter. And I don't outsource that. I write the copy. Maybe that's our problem. Okay. On a serious note, though. So hopefully, my sharing this, really drives home the importance of that and how we've done it. This is us from the trenches, how we are building our business, maintaining our business. Obviously, there's that balance. I have to make sure. Now, we have clients we've worked with for years is because we focus on that relationship and we don't forget about them, right? We continue to take care of them. You have to retain what you get. So you have to have that, and you have to build a team around that to do that. But at the same time, you have to also take care of your marketing, take care of your sales and your content and your websites and continuously improve and incrementally, like there's things I should have had 2 years ago on my website. I didn't because, you only do have so much time. So it takes time, like some of the content I'm putting on my website now, I probably should have had there a couple of years ago, but we have it now. But for me, it's just, I'm incrementally doing it. Just over time doing it. And it's great. At some point, maybe we'll be finished in like 2050 or something. But I encourage you. I really encourage you, if you're listening to this, you got a business, you got an agency, are you spending enough time on your marketing? Can you find ways to kind of protect, decide what that percentage is for you and then protect that time? And that might be literally just, certain blocks of time during a week to work on these things. You got to figure that out. Things like this podcast, for as long as I've been doing this, I think this is episode 117. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But if it's 117, that's 117 weeks. And that's a couple hours every week. Now, it's not as much as you would think. I pace myself because I'm running an agency. So it isn't easy, right? I got to find that time. I got to find the time to record these episodes or find a guest and then do the editing. The editing, I got a pretty good process. I do my own editing, but I do it with some aids of some software and stuff, and it takes me an hour and a half You got obviously the time frame to listen to it and do a little editing there, hour and a half, 2 hours maybe every week. And then I mean, obviously my VA helps me publish it and do the rest. So, but I had to figure that out. So looking at your business, figure out what those things you want to do, whether that's content, maybe it is pay-per-click, but you got to still invest that time and energy into it. Whatever it is, you should be doing something. Every business, in my opinion, should be doing marketing on some level, in some capacity. Maybe that's just networking. Maybe it's doing SEO. Maybe it's doing, social media. Maybe it's one of those things. And again, it could be just one of those things. Start small, but do something, right? You build over time. We didn't just wake up one day and we're on every social media platform posting stuff and have these 5 websites and do like that didn't happen overnight. I suspect, that it kind of goes back to the overnight successes where no one saw them actually working for the last 15, 20 years to get to that point and all the sweat and tears and everything else that went into that. It takes time to build that, but do something. Find your baseline, work on your marketing, work on your website. What can you improve on your website this quarter? Every quarter, a couple times a year, visit that. At least a couple times a year, I'm looking at my website and coming up with new ideas, new sections, or I have kind of probably a laundry list in my head and I tackle it over time. But think about that. And no matter what business you're in. Anyway, so I think that kind of caps the subject, caps the episode. Honestly, if you find this on our website at thebuilders.fm, we have a comment section there, even though no one ever uses it. I don't think people comment on blogs or websites anymore. Maybe the more popular ones, but most people are on social media. Throw a comment under this post, whether you're on Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever. Let me know what you're doing. Do you break out? Make sure every week you're doing that. How many hours a week do you put into that? What are you doing? What are you focused on? Let us know, and maybe that'll help somebody else think about it. Maybe we can spark a conversation. Until next time, thanks for listening. I hope this was insightful and you're walking away wiser for listening in. Until next time, take care. That's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already and give us a thumbs up if we deserve it. If you want to comment on this episode's page, provide me with requests on topics for future episodes, or inquire about being a guest, please find your way to thebuilders.fm. You can contact me there or add a comment under these show notes. Now a word from our sponsor, my agency, Unified Web Design. We build custom websites, features, we maintain websites, we work with agencies to fulfill their web design and development needs, and more. If you're interested in our services or are looking for an agency to work with as a partner to build awesome sites for your clients, feel free to reach out to me at unifiedwebdesign.com. There's a handy contact me link at the top. Fill out that form and it will open a ticket, and that ticket will find its way to me. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.